This is Dennis Wilson on the next series of Success Talks, and I have the lovely Miranda Brawn sitting in front of me. Thank you for doing this firstly.
It's my pleasure.
Would you care to give us a bit more background as to who you are, where you've come from, and how you've actually got to your current position? What do you do?
So my name is Miranda Brawn and I'm a barrister and a banker. I also have a portfolio career which consists of being a patron for the Black British academics. I'm also a board advisor for various organisations which include the Black Cultural Archives. In addition, I'm a writer, a CEO of my own legal consultancy company. I'm also a presenter and a public speaker, which includes speaking for various conferences and seminars and TV and radio. In terms of my background, I'm from Leytonstone. I was born and raised in Leytonstone, East London, and I went to school in Woodford Green and Loughton, Essex. So I then progressed on to entering the investment banking world at the age of 18, and that consisted of me then going on to do my graduate and postgraduate qualifications while working full-time in investment banking.
Oh, you've got an impressive career today. What made you do this? Is this something that you've stumbled across, or did you always know from a younger age that you wanted a portfolio career?
The portfolio career literally has only recently come about. In terms of banking and becoming a lawyer, I've always wanted to enter the financial markets, and at the age of 14 I wanted to be a lawyer. And I can recall, telling the careers advisor, as you do, when they ask the question, what would you like to be when you get older? I did say I would like to be a lawyer. And I've heard some stories where you've got, some professionals now from an ethnic minority background or from a working class background who have stories where when they have expressed an interest into entering the legal or banking field, that they weren't encouraged and they weren't supported. I've got to say I was probably one of the lucky ones, because when I did mention that, and I went to a school where I was one of the very few faces of colour, and when I did say to the careers advisor and to my teachers that I wanted to be a lawyer, I was supported and given really good advice in terms of how to achieve that goal. So I guess I was very lucky in that respect. But I then entered banking, and I didn't proceed with a degree and going on to law school the normal way. I then decided later on, after being in banking for a few years, that I still wanted to go and get a degree. I wanted to go to business school, get my MBA, and then qualified to be a barrister. So I did all of that while entering the banking field.
Okay. I know you've done quite a lot of postgraduate degrees and you've dabbled here, there and everywhere. How do you maintain that balance between everything, so to speak, and how do you make sure that you're giving the best to everything that you're doing?
It's very difficult. It's very time consuming, but in terms of the skills that I exercise in order to stay on top of everything and to maintain a balance, it's definitely time management. It's being efficient. So as soon as I get an email, I would rather respond to that straight away if I can than wait a day or two. And it's also just being organised. So I literally, my diary, and I've actually done a recent interview in the day of the life of Miranda Brawn, and it starts from the time that I wake up to the time that I go to sleep, and I didn't realise actually how much I get done or how much I do in one particular day.
Do you feel like you've pinpointed your passion? And if so, how important is it to be working in an area that you're quite passionate about?
It's very important, and I think most successful people will say to you, in order to be successful, you've got to be passionate, you've got to love what you do, and you've got to work hard. With those three elements, you can definitely succeed.
Okay. Which one of your titles has given you the most personal satisfaction?
I would say qualifying to be a barrister. Reason being, at the age of 14, I wanted to become a lawyer. And then I got slightly sidetracked as I entered the banking world. And then I wasn't sure whether I wanted to enter into the legal world after I entered banking at the age of 18. But I think life really has a funny way of getting you back onto the path that you should be on. And so I ended up working for a bank, and I ended up looking at their legal agreements, which then reignited my passion, and I then decided that I wanted to go back to law school and qualify to be a barrister. So I've got to say, becoming a barrister, out of all the qualifications and the titles and things that I've achieved in my career, that's definitely one of the main things and one of the main titles that I'm very pleased and proud of. But I've got to add that my mother is the first lawyer in the family, but I am the first barrister in the family, so that's a good accomplishment.
So you're in banking and finance and legal aspects, they're quite male orientated and male dominated. Has anyone ever told you that you can't do something like once you've been in this industry because of your sex, and if so, or your background, and if so, how have you dealt with that?
No one has actually directly said that to my face, but I can recall when I did enter banking, I started in operations, which is the back office, the operational part of banking. And I spent a few years actually learning about investment banking and the banking area, and then realised that there was a middle office and then there was a front office, i.e. the trading floor. And after a year or two, I really wanted to progress to getting to the front office. And some of the things that I was told was, well, in order to get a role on the trading floor, you've got to have gone to a red brick university. And back then a red brick university was someone that had gone to a top 10 or top 20 university within the UK. And then they also added on top of that you needed to be fluent in at least one European language. My GCSE French was fine, but I don't think that was going to be enough for me to be fluent in having business conversations on a trading floor. But I didn't take that no as my final answer. I networked, and I've got to say it was also the institution and the bank that I worked for at the time, which was JP Morgan. It was a great, and it still is a great organisation, and they really backed me. I found a whole support system. I had mentors there that guided me. The networking opportunities there were amazing. They had a black networking group, and I ended up chairing their black networking group as well to help with the progression of the black employees there. So for me, I think it really was, that's the only time that I can think in a direct way that someone has said to me, well, the only reason why you potentially might have difficulty entering a certain area is because you need X and Y, and I didn't have those. But it goes to show you can find another route. Mm-hmm. And I think what I hope that I'm achieving through my career is that I'm changing everyone's mindset in terms of what to expect out of your typical investment banker or your typical barrister. You don't have to be your white, middle class, middle-aged male in order to succeed in these fields. You can come from East London, you can come from a mixed race background, and you can have gone to a Catholic school and achieve just as much as anyone else that might have gone to a red brick or have a European language that they're very fluent in.
Cool. What is success in your eyes? What are the keys to success and to your success in general?
Okay, so in terms of success, the definition of success, and I think in order to know what success means, success is defined in many ways to many people. What I might define as success is probably not going to be the same definition to someone else. So I think in order, first of all, to establish what is success, you've got to look within yourself and figure out what is success. What is going to be success for me? What is my dream? What is my aspiration? What do I want to achieve in order for me to class myself as being successful? And so for me, success is very simply to be happy. I think happiness, I think that's what everyone strives to be. No matter, some people will strive to have $1 million or two plus in the bank, and for them it's the monetary value that will define them as being successful. It's the car they drive, it's the house they live in, it's the places where they go on holiday, and that's what they think defines success. For someone else it might be, to have a happy family and to raise their kids, to have great aspirations to be someone one day. It might be a mixture of both. So for me though, I think everyone just wants to be happy at the end of the day, and I think when you look at some people, they might look as though they're very successful and then they're very miserable and very unhappy. So for me, success is literally having peace of mind and being completely happy, and I, today, as I talk to you, definitely feel as though I've achieved that. In terms of what the keys to success actually are, there are many keys to success. but I would say the main ones are preparation. You've got to be able to prepare. In order for me to have got to where I am today, in terms of when I started the banking industry at the age of 18 and to where I am today, I had to learn a lot of new skills. I had to go back to education. I had to go back to university, business school, law school, and I had to get out of my comfort zone and learn new skills. And I think as long as you've got that passion to keep learning and acquiring new skills, you're preparing yourself for the next opportunity. So when the opportunity arises, you're ready. If someone says, hey, have you done accounting before? Yes, I did accounting when I did my MBA, so I'm accustomed to the various accounts, as opposed to I've only done an English degree and my A-levels weren't in any sort of accounting qualifications. So I think you've really got to be a sponge and you've got to take everything in, read lots of books. All of that is part of your preparation. I think also you've got to be able to have confidence within yourself. You've got to have that self-belief. And so many people would say to me when I first entered banking, you're so confident. Where do you get your confidence from? And I didn't really realise that to be confident and to believe in yourself and your capabilities, even when you're being underestimated. And I can say there's been a lot of times throughout my career that I've been underestimated, whether it's because people will look at you and you might look younger than what people are expecting, or you don't look a certain way. What you've got to do is overcome that. Work really hard, do your homework, believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to. And I think that is really key. I think another thing that you've got to do is make sure that you develop your leadership skills. And leadership skills can come in many different forms, but in order to be successful, you've got to be a leader in some way. Whether that's, you might be an intern or a graduate, you've got ideas, whether that's some technology idea or some Twitter idea to help with their branding and marketing. Everyone is different and everyone has a skill that the next person next to them does not have, and you've got to have the confidence to speak up, express your opinion, and know that you've got a voice and it deserves to be heard. So many people don't learn from their mistakes and they keep making the same mistake over and over, but I think you've really got to take that on board, and you've got to think about the mistake that you've made, and you've got to learn from that. There are mistakes that I've made in my professional and personal life, but what I've done is I've used that to help develop me, and a lot of the time it's put me in a better opportunity than what I was in before. So you've really got to make the most of that mistake and learn from it, and don't be scared of failure. I always say the most successful people in the world have probably got the highest number of failures because they're the ones that are persistent. That's another key to success. You've got to be persistent, you've got to be determined, and you've got to focus. If you focus on your goal, you can achieve it. If you allow yourself to be distracted by whether that's negative company or Facebook or whatever that might be, if you allow yourself to be distracted, it's going to take you longer to achieve your goals. You've got to be focused. And my favourite and best key to success is to give back. And that's why I'm here today, to give back to whoever feels that they can benefit from what I'm saying today. It's so important to give back in so many ways. And that's what I do. I spend a lot of my free time giving back to charitable causes.
Imagine yourself in 40, 50 years' time, you're looking back over your career, your life. What would you want your legacy to be, and how would you like to be remembered?
In terms of my legacy, I think I would like to be remembered as someone who's made a real positive difference to the world. I think everyone has got something that they can give. Everyone can give a positive contribution to the world. I'm involved in various diversity initiatives, mostly gender and race diversity initiatives, helping to increase that within the boardroom and also academia. So I think it would be great to be part of something, to see actual and equal opportunities being made available to everyone, regardless of your gender, race, age, class and religion. Simple as that.
Cool. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's us done on Success Talks.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
Great.